Hello dear students, welcome to your English classes. So today we are going to start a new unit, that means a new chapter, a new lesson from your Honeysuckle English textbook. So last day we had dealt with lesson number 5 in the supplementary English textbook, isn't it? And what was the name of the lesson? It was stanzin, isn't it? Yes. So today we'll be beginning with a new unit or new lesson from your Honeysuckle English textbook, and that is unit number 5. And in this unit you are having a story and a poem to learn. So today we'll be starting with the poem. Okay, the story we'll be learning in the next class, and today we'll be learning the poem from the lesson. And what is the name of the poem? You can see on the board. What is it? Where do all teachers go? What is the name of the poem? Where do all teachers go? Okay. So, and the poem is written by one of the famous poet, and he is Peter Dickson. Have you heard about the name Peter Dickson? I know you might not come across this name, isn't it? Yes. So, I'll be giving you a brief introduction about this person, about this poet, and that is Peter Dickson. Peter Dickson was a poet, educationalist, artist, performer. So, Peter Dickson was known in these roles. What are the roles? What were the roles in which Peter Dickson were known? As a poet, as an educationalist, as an artist, and as a performer. Poet, the one who writes poems. So Peter Dickson used to write poems. And he was an educationalist. Educationalist means he was a teacher. That is educationalist. And artist in the sense he used to draw pictures. Okay, so he was like a little painter too, and he was a performer. Performer in the sense the one who performs art, that is a performer. Okay, so Peter Dickson was known in these roles. He used to write poems, and so in this unit you are going to learn one of the poem of Peter Dickson, and that is Where Do All Teachers Go. So Peter Dickson was such a funny person in his life. And one of his friend wrote an article, Peter Dickson's friend wrote an article about Peter Dickson. And in that article it was written that Peter Dickson was very, very naughty when he was a kid. He was really naughty. Naughty in the sense he is not ready to learn. He is not interested in learning. Even he is not ready to go to school. And his friend states in that article that Peter Dickson wasn't able to read, write, or even he cannot spell a word correctly. He was such a naughty boy, because he is not interested in doing all these things. But unfortunately, what happened? Peter Dickson became a teacher in his life. You just imagine about it. A kid, a child who's not ready to go to school, who wasn't able to read, write, or even spell a word correctly, he became a teacher in his life. And teacher in the sense he became a lecturer in education. Do you know what is this lecturer? Lecturer is a teacher. It is a teacher post in college. It is known as lecturer. Okay, so and he became a lecturer in education. Do you know a lecturer in education? What does he do? Lecturer in education means a teacher who trains or teaches teachers. You know, lecturer in education means a person who teaches or trains the teachers, upcoming teachers. So you just think about it. The Peter Dickson, this naughty boy, became a educationalist. That means a teacher who teaches or trains the teachers. Okay, yes. And his friend also written in that article that Peter Dickson is like a child. Even when he became an adult, an elder man, his mind always remained as a child, so that he won't he used to write, or he produced his poems for children. So most of the writings of Peter Dickson, when you come across, you can find that most of his writings are for children. He used to write poems, novels, stories and everything, plays only for children. So that his friend once noted in his article that his friend Peter Dickson is like a child. He loves to remain like a child in his life. And Peter Dickson, he left left English literature, and he died in the year 1944. I hope he died in the year 1944. And his friend wrote in that article that his death was like a big loss to English literature. Okay, so that is about Peter Dickson. And Peter Dickson, as I written, he was a child novelist in the sense he used to write poems, stories, novels and plays for children actually. Okay, and some of his writings or some of his works are like Fest Assembly, My Mum, Where Do All Teachers Go? You can see on the board. So some of very few I have written, only 3 I have written over here. When you Google about it, you can find the other details about Peter Dickson. Okay, you can Google about Peter Dickson. Even you can find that article written by his friend about Peter Dickson. Okay, so these are some of very few works I have written over here. That is Fest Assembly, My Mum and Where Do All Teachers Go? And today we are going to learn one of his famous poem written for children, that is Where Do All Teachers Go? And in this poem, Where Do All Teachers Go? It's about the confusion or the doubts of our poet about teachers. And in this poem, Peter Dickson portrays himself as a child. Okay, he portrays himself as a child. He assumes that he itself is a child, and he wrote that poem as a doubt of as the doubts of a child about his or her teachers. So you know, small children used to find their teachers as superheroes. Do you find your teacher as a superhero? You feel that your teacher is having some superpower? Do you find it? No, it's not about us, isn't it? We aren't believing that our teachers are superheroes, isn't it? Because we know that the teachers are similar to us. They are also having a body, they are also having an eyes, like they used to eat, they used to walk, everything. They are doing the same thing that what you people are doing, isn't it? Yes. So the Peter Dickson here portrays about a child who believes that his teacher is actually a superhero, or a teacher is someone who's having a superpower or an extra power, and the child is having many doubts about his or her teacher. What was the doubts? You know, that he's doubtful about whether the teacher is washing her clothes, or whether she is picking the nose, or whether she is stealing chocolate flakes, and whether he or she is wearing old jeans. And these are the different doubts that the child is asking throughout this poem about the teacher. Because a small child always finds his or her teacher as a superhero. He can't believe, or that child can't believe that his or her teacher is an ordinary human being. So the child is in total confusion about the teacher. Okay, so now let's find out what is there in the poem. So now let's read and understand.